Welcome to Night Shadows. I'm Stuart Best, where the paranormal is normal, where that which you thought you knew, you didn't, and where the future can be known if you know exactly where to look.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in on this update we have, and Larry's really been following what's going on over there. But it appears, from everything we can find out, that Russia did, in fact, on the 6th. We warned people about the 6th and the comet APOPHIS coming by, the god of chaos, as possibly a warning that we were going to enter into a time of total chaos. And it seems like perhaps more happened than we anticipated, because it was on the 6th that Russia, Putin, did in fact attack U.S. forces, really, in Syria. And Larry's really been following this. What's the update, Larry? What have you got? I know a lot of things are going on.
Well, it's extremely hard to vet, but Hal Turner's got the most of it now. Unless you're a subscriber, you can't look at a lot of the pictures or videos. But anyway, his report indicates that Russian missiles last night struck and destroyed deep state oil operation by Biden and the U.S. and Turkey and Syria. He says the northern Syria oil tank farms and fuel trucks completely destroyed in Russian missile attack in Syria. And, of course, I sent you some images, some I had, and it certainly looked like they did a job on that place. Says March 6, 2021, Russian forces and Syrian Arab Army missile attack on U.S., Turk, and Israeli oil farm operations in northern Syria. And then the Q alert also posted, said Russian attack on U.S. Turk oil farm operations in northern Syria. Escalation of conflict could lead to immediate war. And we're trying to follow up on it, but this thing is being kept extremely quiet. And, of course, everybody's aware of those oil fields and oil farms that were up in northern Syria. That was what deep state, Obama, Biden, and all that group in Turkey, Erdogan in Turkey, they was wanting that. And remember, the Kurds had it for a little while, and then and they were holding it, and we forced them to leave. And I suppose U.S. and Turkey took it over, but it looks like they got hit hard.
So if this is an attack from Russia, and we don't know if they killed any U.S. troops or Turkish troops, and we've often wondered what was going to happen between Russia and Turkey, but the deep state has always wanted to have a war with Russia, and I'm beginning to wonder if this isn't the opening salvo because of the date that it came, 1,260 days after the star sign, and here we are with a multitude, actually, of different signs all falling on 3/6/2021. What would be the next move, do you think, that would happen in NATO? Because that's basically NATO and Turkey and the U.S., right? That would be NATO. Do you suppose NATO is going to make a move?
Well, if you believe some of the intel that Turner has, he's indicating that the EU is going ballistic over this, and there are reports that expect in the next 72 hours possibly a conflict to break out between Ukraine and Russia, and that could be a NATO move to begin another war in that region.
Now, does Putin, somebody said something about possibly he will move against Ukraine? I know he's threatened to in the past. Would that be a second front then, perhaps? in reply if they do something. If NATO does something, he's got to reply now. I mean, he's committed himself with this attack, seems like.
Well, we know that he committed himself in Syria, and he had also been setting up the runways to bring in nuclear-capable Russian bombers into Syria also at the same time. Now, what's interesting is Yahoo News put out in the last few hours, listen to this headline, Fears on new conflict in eastern Ukraine as Moscow and Kiev blame each other for tensions in the region. That sounds like a psyop, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Of course, I'm a tinfoil hat type of person, and I believe Psalm 2, and that these people are all involved together, and that these things are all carefully planned. Not that it doesn't always take twists and turns, maybe they don't expect, but overall, it appears to me that this is a well-planned attack, and we'll just have to see. But, folks, this could be the start of World War III. What is the take by Hal Turner, he has all kinds of insider info. What's his take on what's actually going on, and where does he see this going?
Well, his take is that this literally, if you'll remember, we called this an energy war in Syria way back there, you and I both, and that's been proved out. And what this would do, Stuart, from the destruction I saw in the images, if they're accurate, Putin just removed I guess you could say one of the chess pieces out of Syria that was really drawing Biden and Turkey into Syria.
Well, yeah, this is obviously, why would they destroy, and why would Assad allow the destruction of their oil fields unless it was all being stolen from him anyway, and he wasn't getting any of it? Would that be an assessment that would be accurate? Because obviously he must have approved of this.
Well, from what I can gather from the intelligence that's been coming out for some time, and according to Hal Turner's intel, that this operation with this oil situation in northern Syria was a deep state operation. This went back to Obama and Biden years ago, and also at the same time it went back to John McCain, if you'll remember. And basically Turner said the intel was that ISIS, basically, the war against ISIS was nothing other than to prop up and steal all this oil. And remember, they wanted to Turkey and the deep state wanted to build their own pipeline to Europe from there and begin to offer Europe all the oil that Russia's given at Europe. And Russia recently just made a deal with Israel to put a line across. So, Putin kind of removed the chess piece.
Yeah, and if they've been stealing this oil right along, that would give Assad, he'd give the nod probably in 2 seconds. Let's just take it out and we'll see what happens. But Putin is kind of a snake in the grass, very, very clever. In fact, he's probably the smartest chess player militarily that we have, and he may be baiting. He may want to settle this once and for all, because if you get into Ezekiel 38, 39, it sounds like that Russia is the key operative in taking out the United States in a surprise nuclear attack whenever that does take place. But I do remember prophecies, maybe you can enlighten me on that, about Russia suddenly and without any warning brings a blitzkrieg operation against all of Europe and just decides to take it over. So NATO is in a very precarious position because actually Russia, with its military power, I think could wipe out NATO very, very rapidly, and we wouldn't be able to do anything. And if Russia and China are operating together in this, then China will also. You have your wars everywhere suddenly. So, yes, this could rapidly escalate. So he's saying probably within the next 2 to 3 days, we'll have a reply of some sort, most likely, I guess.
Yeah,
Where do you see this going?
They seem to be indicating, Stuart, that we're going to now see something happen on the Russian frontier, the Ukraine area. And remember, over and over before Trump, they continually tried to fight proxy wars between Ukraine and Russia over and over and over.
Yeah, and he got tired of that and went into, can't even remember the name. Crimea, yes, and took it. So maybe he's had enough and he'll just take Ukraine as well. Wow. Well, folks, we knew this was coming sooner or later. Been there, done that. It may fizzle out, hopefully in Lord's timing. But this is not good news because it appears to me NATO has to reply. And Biden probably is not the one in power. I would say that Obama is in power. And we'll just have to see how this all works. Switching over then to earthquakes, the highest number, 2021, which we're not very far into, the highest number of major quakes ever recorded in the first 65 days of the year. On all, 42 major quakes, magnitude 6 or higher, have rocked the planet. Astonishingly, 26 have rocked the eastern margin of the Australia plate since the first day of 2021. Now remember, 42, because that's the number of the Lord's Advent. And the Lord uses earthquakes to kind of shake awake people that are sound asleep. So anyway, have you got any more news on what's going on earthquake-wise, Larry?
Well, I was watching Monkey Works. Watching Monkey Works just a little earlier. He had put up an urgent report, and he tracked a plane. He said that we have some critical alert planes that are now have left the West Coast, look like they're headed to Hawaii. He says he thinks that because of this major movement, between Australia and, well, actually it's in the Kermadec Islands, there, north of New Zealand, that he was indicating that we're not being told the severity of what's really going on there and the size of some of these quakes. And if you remember, stand day on others, we've been told already that all earthquake activity that goes public has to go through the White House. So we're being watered down, and what we're hearing is not good. So if that's true, what's happening out there is bigger than you're being told, and the movements are continuing. And if they are sending critical alert planes to Hawaii, something big is up.
Yeah, I think they're afraid, and the Hawaiian island could drop off into the sea, and so couldn't the Canary Islands go. We're in trouble, folks. You cannot mock the Lord and get away with it. We're going to pay for it, big time. And here's an interesting headline. Why has the CDC just released a zombie apocalypse preparedness guide? Remember yesterday we were talking about what frequency and vibrations, how it affects DNA and your mental state, et cetera, et cetera. Here's another one. What if Berlin disappeared in a major volcanic eruption? Scientists discover a large volcano under the capital of Germany. Anyway, thanks a lot, Larry, for coming on. If anything breaks, we'll definitely come back on. Anyway, just wanted to alert you. Good night, folks. Take care.